I just bought my all-time dream car, the 2024 GT3 RS. But there's one problem, or two, possibly three, possibly a lot of problems.
Imagine buying a Porsche GT3 RS at a huge discount, only to discover the manufacturer refuses to repair it. Why would Porsche walk away from one of its most iconic sports cars?
I've never rebuilt a flood-damaged car, so I have no idea where to start. It was completely dead. No ticking or noise on the dash.
Well, does that mean the key's not in the car?
Yeah, but if the key wasn't in the car, it'd tell you no key. It would go boom.
What first looked like a bargain soon revealed a mystery filled with missing parts, unexplained engine damage, and clues hidden in plain sight. As the investigation unfolds, every discovery raises even more questions. Can this abandoned performance machine be brought back to life, or is the damage beyond repair? The unfixable GT3 RS. When Matt Armstrong purchased this Porsche GT3 RS, the warning signs were clear from the start. Porsche itself had refused to repair the car and voided its warranty. This GT3 RS wasn't just a neglected vehicle, it was a prized machine that somehow fell through the cracks of manufacturer support. With a purchase price of £87,000, the idea that this was a simple engine fix seemed almost too good to be true, raising a big question. What had gone so wrong that Porsche walked away? From the outside, the car told a very different story. Its flawless paint protection film covered every inch. The roll cage beneath was pristine, and the interior looked untouched. It was a car that had clearly been cherished and meticulously maintained, at least in appearance. The mystery deepened. How could such a well-kept GT3 RS be sidelined with a problem severe enough to void the warranty and abandon the owner? The initial frustration came with the car's refusal to start. Turning the key engaged the starter motor without issue, immediately ruling out basic electrical problems. But despite this, the engine refused to run properly, hinting at a deeper, unseen mechanical failure. This contradiction, between a car that looked ready and one that wouldn't start, set the stage for a painstaking investigation. Porsche's refusal to fix this car suggested a fault either so costly or so complicated that they would rather cut ties. Yet, the situation also hinted at something unusual, rather than simple wear and tear. It seemed like more than a mechanical fault. Traces of deliberate tampering or incomplete repair surfaced during the initial examination. This raised new suspicions about the car's history and what exactly had been done beneath its surface. The previous owner had lost the vehicle due to finance issues, and the repossession auction offered a rare chance to take on a challenge few would consider. Armstrong took that chance, hoping to unlock the car's potential. Yet each clue uncovered moved the story further into the realm of the unexpected, where negligence and mystery intertwined. The tension wasn't just about repairing an engine, it was about proving whether this GT3 RS was truly a lost cause or a hidden gem waiting for a skilled hand. Armstrong's growing doubts about the initial diagnosis made the mission feel less like a rebuild and more like solving a puzzle no one else wanted to face. This wasn't just a story about a car, it was about uncovering why the industry's elite had turned their back on it. At this point, the problem wasn't just mechanical, it was about understanding the choices made by those who had handled the engine before and why those choices led to Porsche walking away. The unraveling mystery wasn't just technical trivia. It was the key to whether this GT3 RS could rise again or remain broken beyond repair. The biggest surprise was yet to come, but one thing was becoming clear. What had been done to this car was not by accident. Secrets lay under its hood, and every new discovery deepened the question that had started it all. Why would Porsche refuse to repair one of its own most celebrated models? With the main mystery in place, the deeper clues started to surface beneath the engine bay, details that would slowly piece together the story behind Porsche's refusal. Clues beneath the surface. The first practical step was to lift the car and inspect what might be stopping it from running. From beneath, the GT3 RS presented little sign of dirt or neglect, but almost immediately, something felt off. When Armstrong reached under to check the sump plugs, normally tightened with a wrench, both came loose with just fingers. This wasn't just wear, it was carelessness or intentional looseness. 2 sump plugs left finger-tight was highly unusual, almost as if someone had been inside the engine bay but hadn't completed the job properly. This detail shifted the tone from a simple mechanical failure to a story of unfinished repairs. It also hinted at an ongoing oil leak, serious enough to cause engine damage if ignored, a kind of silent threat slowly starving the engine of lubrication. Determined to understand how severe the situation was, the team drained the remaining oil through those sump plugs. There was still some oil left, but not nearly enough for safe operation. This finding left the cause ambiguous. Had the engine run dry long enough to cause permanent damage? Or was the leak a more recent problem? The uncertain timing was part of the broader puzzle. Then came a detail that changed the entire direction of the investigation. On the passenger seat, disconnected and out of place, was a single 20-amp fuse. It didn't belong just anywhere. It was meant for the fuel pump relay, a crucial component in engine startup. This fuse had apparently been removed deliberately and left in plain sight, fully disabling the fuel pump's power. Without that fuse in place, the fuel system would never activate, effectively preventing the engine from starting regardless of spark or timing. Why anyone would remove such a critical piece, but leave it so visible, raised uncomfortable questions. It hinted at sabotage, or an intentional step to keep the car from running, further complicating the narrative. Once the fuse was restored to its slot, the fuel pump finally received power. The engine was able to turn over properly for the first time, offering a glimmer of hope that this car might not be as broken as it seemed. But the fuse's removal was just the beginning. Multiple other anomalies suggested something much more complex and disturbing, hidden inside the engine. The careful exterior and neglected internal details painted a striking contrast. The loose sump plugs, missing fuse, and an engine that refused to fully run, despite these basic fixes, all pointed to a deeper mechanical failure, one serious enough that Porsche preferred to wash its hands of the whole affair. As the investigation continued, it became clear that this car had been opened up before, but never properly repaired. Each initial clue added another layer of intrigue, signaling bigger challenges ahead in the quest to breathe life back into this seemingly abandoned GT3 RS. These contradictions pushed the search further inside the engine itself, where the real story was waiting to be uncovered. The missing finger followers. With fuel finally reaching the engine, Armstrong turned the ignition and heard it catch. Only not quite right. The engine sputtered, ran unevenly, and misfired on cylinders 4, 5, and 6, all on the same side. Diagnostics revealed faults linked to the camshaft position sensors on that bank, indicating that half the engine was not functioning as it should. This wasn't just a fuel or spark problem, it felt mechanical. The spark plugs were pulled from both sides for inspection, but showed no obvious damage or fouling. A borescope inspection of the cylinders revealed mostly clean chambers, with only a small amount of oil past the rings on the affected side. Coil packs fired strong visible sparks, and fuel delivery had been restored, ruling out the usual culprits. If the cylinders were sound, spark strong, and fuel present, what was preventing proper combustion? Focus shifted to the camshafts, the key components controlling valve timing. On this generation of GT3 RS, the cam lobes don't press directly on the valves, but through small intermediaries called finger followers. These tiny parts transfer camshaft rotation into valve movement at precise timing. Crucially, if the finger followers are missing, the camshaft spins freely without opening the valves below. When Armstrong removed the rocker cover on the affected side, the finger followers were completely absent, not broken or worn down, but simply gone. This absence explained the misfires and lack of compression on those cylinders. Without valves opening, combustion couldn't occur. The mystery deepened as it became clear that someone had previously opened the engine and removed these components without replacing them. This wasn't an isolated anomaly. The same model of GT3 RS was known to have issues with finger followers due to a material defect in the original parts. Over time, wear would flatten cam lobes and degrade these components, causing misfires like those seen here. Porsche had since addressed the problem with improved replacement parts, making it a recognized weak point in this generation. Inspection of both sides' camshafts confirmed real damage. The intake cam lobes showed visible flat spots where they should have been smooth and rounded. This subtle wear disrupted valve operation and explained the engine's struggles under load. It was a mechanical issue far beneath the surface of an otherwise flawless exterior. The picture started coming into focus. The engine needed new camshafts and finger followers on both sides, demanding a full teardown. Missing finger followers, worn cam lobes, loosened sump plugs, and that ignored fuse painted a story of an engine opened, diagnosed, and abandoned mid-repair. Someone had started fixing this GT3 RS, but never finished the job. Understanding this missing link inside the engine set the stage for the next challenge. Bringing these vital components back and figuring out why the first repair attempts failed so spectacularly. The hunt for a solution was far from over, but these discoveries offered a clear mechanical explanation for much of the car's mysterious failure. The complexity beneath the surface was now undeniable, spurring the team on to confront what lay ahead. With these engine internals exposed and their critical state understood, the challenges of repair grew sharper and more demanding. Failed repairs and misfires. With the diagnosis clear, Armstrong ordered new camshafts and finger followers for both cylinder banks, along with fresh seals and a full range of service parts. The total parts cost was roughly £5,500, excluding the skilled labor needed for the complex rebuild. Stripping down the top end of a Porsche GT3 RS engine is no small feat, and Armstrong reckoned it would take about 12 hours of expert work, time that at a specialist's hourly rate would add thousands more to the bill. The rebuild process was painstaking. Each camshaft had to be precisely timed using specialized locking tools to align perfectly with the crankshaft, ensuring valves opened and closed according to the engine's exact four-stroke cycle. A single tooth off on the timing chain could cause catastrophic damage or persistent misfires. With so much at stake, patience and precision were critical. Once the new camshafts and finger followers were installed and torqued to specification, the engine was carefully reassembled. For a brief moment, it seemed the fix had worked. The engine started, idled smoothly, and did not immediately throw any fault codes. Armstrong and his team felt a surge of optimism. They might finally be on the path to bringing this GT3 RS back to life. However, as soon as the engine was tested under load, the old issues re-emerged. Cylinders 4 and 6 began misfiring again, and the check engine light blinked back on the dashboard. This stubborn pattern raised a frustrating question. Could the engine have been rebuilt correctly, yet still fail in the very same way? The problem now appeared to run deeper than just worn parts. Further diagnostic scans revealed that the variable valve timing system was attempting to adjust camshaft timing by nearly 22 degrees on the affected bank, far beyond the allowable 6 degrees in either direction. This suggested the system was struggling against something mechanical that it could not overcome, fighting a battle inside the engine itself. The logic pointed suspicion toward the exhaust camshaft on the right side, the only component not fully replaced during the first rebuild. A second, quicker engine removal followed to inspect that exhaust cam more closely. Surprisingly, it showed no visible wear severe enough to cause this persistent misfire. After 2 removals and a fresh set of parts, the car still behaved exactly as before. It left the team wondering if the next step might involve more than hardware. A call to Porsche shed light on a potential solution unrelated to physical damage. The manufacturer explained that after this type of camshaft and finger follower replacement, the vehicle's electronics require a relearn procedure. This process allows the variable valve timing system to recalibrate itself using Porsche's proprietary diagnostic equipment. It was a sound theory. Perhaps the stubborn misfire was a software issue rather than another mechanical fault. The team reassembled the car, filled the coolant, and attempted the relearn procedure by running the engine. Could a complex problem that resisted mechanical fixes be resolved by simply resetting the software? Unfortunately, it did not work. The misfire returned, the camshaft deviation remained excessive, and the engine went into limp mode once again. However prepared they were, the cause behind these symptoms remained elusive. Even after 2 full engine removals and installing all new camshafts and finger followers, the GT3 RS continued to misfire as if stuck in a loop. The frustration was mounting, but the answer, it seemed, was hiding in plain sight somewhere within the details already documented on camera. Sometimes the smallest overlooked clues carry the heaviest weight. The swapped variators. Late one evening, after the frustration of repeated failures, Armstrong revisited hours of footage from the rebuild, searching for any detail missed during the frantic repairs. There, in a barely noticeable moment on camera, he spotted something odd about the camshaft variators. These components, located at the end of each camshaft, play a key role in adjusting valve timing on the fly. Yet, on this car, the variators on the problematic side appeared to have been swapped. Like puzzle pieces placed in the wrong spots, the left-hand engine bank showed the thicker variator on the intake cam and the thinner one on the exhaust cam, the correct setup. But on the right-hand side, where misfires persisted, these two were reversed. It was a subtle difference, but one that could disrupt the entire timing system's operation and cause the exact erratic behavior the car exhibited. This swap was particularly puzzling because neither variator had been removed or adjusted during the rebuilds. Both camshafts had been lifted out and reinstalled with their original variators intact. This meant the mix-up had to have occurred before Armstrong even bought the car, likely during some previous incomplete engine work. The implications were profound. If a technician had identified the damaged finger followers and cam lobes, but was told the repair wouldn't be covered under warranty, there might have been little incentive to complete the job properly. The engine could have been reassembled hastily, with details like swapped variators overlooked because nobody expected the car to run perfectly again. Such a mismatched variator pairing would cause the variable valve timing system to fight against itself, triggering misfires and fault codes despite all other repairs being done correctly. It was the hidden twist that explained months of persistent trouble and thousands of pounds spent on parts and labor. With this new insight, Armstrong's team proceeded to swap the variators back to their correct sides and carefully retimed the entire right-hand camshaft assembly from scratch. Having completed the job twice before, the third full engine removal took just over an hour. The tension in the workshop was palpable. A moment of truth awaited. This small but critical fix promised to finally end the nightmare of persistent misfires. What had once seemed like an unsolvable problem now had an answer simple enough to have been missed from day one. The smallest detail, a swapped variator, concealed the biggest secret in this Porsche's troubled history. As the engine went back together, hope flickered that this could be the fix that finally stuck and returned this forsaken GT3 RS to its rightful glory. Resolution and remaining challenges. After correctly repositioning the camshaft variators and retiming the right-hand camshaft, the GT3 RS was rebuilt for the third time. This time, the result was different. The engine started smoothly, idled perfectly, and showed no warning lights, finally sounding like a proper GT3 RS should. The success was short-lived. During its first road test on the way to a Porsche service center, the engine temperature suddenly spiked when a previously disconnected coolant hose came loose. The car had to be loaded onto a trailer, proving that even small oversights could delay the project. Once the cooling system was repaired, the GT3 RS underwent Porsche's comprehensive 100-point inspection. The engine passed with no fault codes, the alignment checked out, and the car proved roadworthy. However, a few unrelated issues remained, including a worn front wheel bearing, cracked brake pads from long-term storage, and a roll cage rattle caused by incorrectly installed mounting bolts. These problems still needed fixing before Porsche would consider restoring the warranty. Another obstacle was Porsche's policy requiring a new owner to keep the vehicle for at least 90 days before applying for warranty reinstatement. There was also a mileage discrepancy linked to the previous owner, with unusually high engine hours despite very low recorded mileage. Armstrong believes this issue existed before he bought the car and plans to present his case to Porsche. In total, Armstrong invested around £92,000. With restored condition and warranty eligibility, the GT3 RS could be worth £135,000 to £140,000, making the challenging rebuild a potentially worthwhile investment. This GT3 RS rebuild shows how patience, attention to detail, and relentless investigation can unravel even the toughest automotive mysteries. From a manufacturer's refusal to fix it to uncovering hidden faults, the journey highlights that sometimes the smallest mistakes conceal the biggest challenges. If you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories uncovering the world's most fascinating cars.